What's up? How y'all doing? I want to discuss The Last of Us TV adaptation now that we have experienced all of the episodes. I finished watching episode 9 a few days ago, and I got a chance now to collect my thoughts and let you know how I feel and what what uh, what my impressions are, where I feel there was lacking, and my overall thoughts on the show.
He's the man in the bandana, the man with the charm. He's a dude with the glasses and a lady on his arm.
I want to start off with that this show was an excellent adaptation of a video game. This was the best video game adaptation to live action to date. Hands down, I cannot argue that point. I cannot, make an argument against that point. But was it perfect? No. Um, could there have been improvements made? Most definitely. Was it lacking infected? Absolutely. But did the show get the gist of the story? The the dynamic between Joel and Ellie? Most assuredly yes. So let's go through. I thought the cold opens were an excellent add to this adaptation. It gave us some supposition that was definitely needed. I thought that the first two cold opens were excellent, no problem with them. Then we get to episode 3, and with episode 3, I knew that they were. First of all, I knew that they were. From what I understand, there was going to be huge changes. Now, what I seen and the way it was written, it was a beautifully written love story in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Really, I don't see much wrong with that. But when it comes to Bill and the interaction between Bill and Joel in the game compared to what was going on in episode 3, you could have still, in my opinion, had the love story, but tweak it just a little bit. Hear me out. You could still have the 20-year jump, go through the whole motion that they went through of Bill meeting Frank and the story that went on forth from there. Love story, keep everything that was there. Except instead of them having the last day, the perfect day, um, them go out as a couple, to be more faithful to the game and to be able to get that excitement that happened when you first meet Bill is, why not hold off that death scene, cut to Joel getting caught by the trap, having to defend himself upside down and everything like that from infected. Bill comes in, saves the day. They do part of the questing, whatever the case may be. This way, we get that excitement of the infected, the traps, how you can get more in depth on how Bill set all the traps up, and then when Bill gets home, obviously Joel and Ellie are there with him. Lo and behold, Frank decides that he's going to punch that ticket, and then you can have Bill tell the story to Joel and Ellie. saying that you're here to protect people like Frank and Tess and Ellie and so on and so forth. That this is the job of people like Bill and Joel. And then have Joel and Ellie invite him to go with them. But then that's when he says, "I'm satisfied. Frank was my purpose," and go out like that. You know, granted, it may not be as romantic as the way they did it, but then it would have stuck truer to the story. You still get the love story, but it would have been more truer to the game. That's just one of my suggestions. I didn't want this video to go this long, but this was important for me to say. I thought that I was put out by the lack of infected through the entirety of the show. And I thought it was very important because this is, basically, air brass tacks of it, a zombie show. A zombie show that had an excellent way of explaining how this all happened. So why not keep staying down that line? I thought the changes they made with Sam and Henry, I thought they were excellent. I thought it was a good idea to make Sam deaf and younger, to make him more dependent on Henry. So it's more of a father son type of relationship than really an older brother, younger brother type of thing. The game adaptation of their relationship was fine. I had no problem with that. But I thought they did a better job with the show. No problem with that. I thought it was excellent. Um, it gave it gave it more of a sense of urgency. And when they did the cordyceps inspected, including the bloater, that was awesome, and that is basically what I expected to be throughout the show. Like I said, excellent adaptation, but this is a critique. Kathleen, I've heard so many different complaints about Kathleen and how that storyline wasn't needed, and I'm going to disagree with everyone that didn't like the part with Kathleen because, in my opinion, Kathleen creeped me out. I mean, I can see something like that happening. If the apocalypse came up, I can see people like Kathleen coming to power. Basically a Karen like this, and I understood her story. Her story was totally relevant. It was totally relatable. But she scared me. She had that school teacher vibe, talking to you like you're a 5-year old, and totally capable of taking you out. Um, yeah, but let's move forward. I just wanted to give you. So I thought Kathleen was good. I thought it was a good addition to the story. When we get to the part that Joel gets hurt, I had no problems with them changing how he got hurt because in all honesty, the way he got hurt on the game and then recovered, it's basically Superman with super healing factor and everything like that. Because honestly, no one would have survived something like that, and that was already done because didn't something similar happen to Rick Grimes with the rebar going through him and everything? So changing it up, I had no problem with it. I think they did an excellent job with that. But then we go into Ellie's past with Riley. I have a slight problem with them adding that in there. I didn't think there was any reason to put that part in and take away from more infected, more story that have to involve Joel and Ellie. I didn't think that that was so needed because your audience, the average audience member, I think pretty much got it that Ellie was gay. So I didn't think it was needed to, put that in the foreground. It was more than obvious Kelly that Ellie was gay. So I didn't think that was needed personally. It could have been done. It could have been explained in conversation, like they did at the end, which I'll get to. The episode with David and the way that he acted, you know, when he first met Ellie and how his demeanor was so quiet and so non aggressive and subdued. The actor that played David, holy smokes, he did a good job. Creeped me out. Seriously, did a great job. And Bella Ramsey's performance in that episode was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Ever in any movie, any TV show, this girl nailed it. And the actor who played David, my goodness, I mean, uh, game to story, the game to TV adaptation, the HBO adaptation was much better and more defined in the show than it was on the game. And I preferred the show. Much better adaptation. I thought that was awesome. The way that they did it, Bella Ramsey's, performance, the terror in her eyes, the sense of hopelessness, it was just, and the way that she looked at Joel. I like the fact that Joel couldn't get to her like he did in the game. He couldn't get to her. He couldn't get inside because there would have been no way to explain that when David's the one that had the key. The fact that she had to get herself out of that completely, and Joel, caught up with her outside. The look on her face, the sheer terror, the sheer loss of innocence. You knew she was broken. And the way that Joel said, baby girl to her, you knew that his walls were finally down and he accepted Ellie. There was nothing going to get in the way of him accepting Ellie as his surrogate daughter. Excellent. Excellent performances by all involved, Pedro Pascal included. David in the game earned a certain amount of trust because him and Ellie were able to fend off some infected. Here we could have added the infected yet again, so as to build up more trust between David and Ellie. The fact that he had the gun hidden would have been a nice factor to put in there, and I thought that would have ended up being a better part of the story. But I'm not taking away from what they did because, like I said, the job that the actor did who played David and and Bella Ramsey's performance, Pedro Pascal's performance, all on this episode, holy smokes, definitely in line. You started getting the sense of how dangerous Joel actually is and was. Episode 9, I have to say, I thought was kind of short. But from gameplay, from all the video footage that I've seen of the gameplay, they could have added some infected in it. But. The fact that they introduced us to Ellie's mom, kind of made up for it because that explained a lot. That explained where Ellie got her genetic material from. You can tell she has the mannerisms of her mom. Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in the game, did an excellent job as playing Ellie's mom, and it just blew me away. So the fact that we didn't get that much infected in the current timeline for Joel and Ellie getting to the Fireflies, this kind of made up for it because I loved that. I loved that inclusion of Ellie's mom and what happened, and the fact that Ellie's mom, Ashley Johnson, lied, straight up lied to Marlene about the Ellie being born before the bite happened and the court. Although the way they did it made kind of sense. It made sense to me. Okay, why was Ellie immune? And the lack, not the lack, but the inhibition to want to kill Ellie's mom by Marlene, totally understandable. But then she had to remove herself and go in there and do what needed to be done, and she did it. And it made more sense as to why Marlene put Ellie with Fedra, for Fedra to raise her, because yeah, that was the safest option, and that would have been the best place for Ellie to grow up, and then eventually bring her out. But everything happened the way it happened. The fact that they kept the giraffe scene was very important because when you opened up and saw that Ellie was so distant at the beginning of the episode. Ellie was so distant, so withdrawn, which was so different from when you first meet her. She was talkative. She always engaged everybody in conversation. She initiated all the conversations with all the jokes and the bad puns and all that stuff. Now she's withdrawn. Now she's quiet. Uh, uh, she's very she's contemplating what happened. You can tell by her expressions that she hasn't gotten over what went on with David and what happened and the terror she went through. You could see it. Bella Ramsey, without saying much, displays all that. And the fact that Joel let down all of his guard and fully accepted Ellie as his surrogate daughter, and now the roles are being reversed, and Joel is initiating the conversations, making the jokes, and trying to get Ellie's attention, knowing that she's hurting, trying to keep her in the here and now. I thought was excellent the way it was portrayed. Oh my goodness, I was like, wow, wow, and it was done better than the game. It was definitely done better than the game. I can't really complain about the lack of infected in this episode because of the way they directed it, the way that they wrote the story. They added Ellie's mom into it. That made it somewhat satisfying. Ashley Johnson did an awesome job. And is it just me, or do Ashley Johnson and Bella Ramsey look very similar? Bella Ramsey, in my opinion, can pass for Ashley Johnson's daughter. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have a very similar look. But is that just me? Let me know down in the comments. But when you saw Ellie's face and the expression of joy when she saw the giraffe and she was feeding the giraffe, Joel was giving her the leaves to feed the giraffe. The 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 look and the expression of happiness that all her problems were gone for that at that moment, and for Joel to show his expression and his satisfaction in seeing her laugh again, and showing that innocence one more time, it just made my day. It was so integral to to the show that this part of the story remained, and they kept it, and they kept it. They adapted it faithfully. Kudos, kudos to the team that directed this and the storyteller. The build up to the hospital, Joel, the Fedra, no, actually the Fireflies sneaking up behind and then throwing the flash grenade in there, and Joel automatically, putting himself between the flash grenade and Ellie, as as a father would, and then we cut to the hospital. I thought that was okay. I thought that was okay. I didn't have no problem with them changing it from Ellie nearly drowning and them fighting infected. I didn't think it was a bad way to go to transition, and I thought the transition was okay. This is the one time I didn't mind there not being any infected. But oof, when Marlene tried to explain to Joel what was going on, and Ellie was being prepped for surgery, and Joel is like, surgery, and got it that Ellie's not going to survive the surgery. Automatic dad mode came in. He wasn't going to have what happened to Sarah happen to him again with Ellie. It wasn't going to happen. And on a side note, to all you people that say that Joel was the bad guy, look at it from a father's perspective. I'm a dad, and I do not feel he was wrong. Damn the world, I'm not sacrificing my kid. The world would burn before I sacrifice my kid. And to you people that would say, no, well, it's, sacrifice for the greater good. No, no, hell no. A parent, you couldn't make a parent choose everybody else over their kids. Kids, your child always comes first. I don't care who you are. Your child always comes first. So, no, if you want my honest opinion, no, I do not think Joel was wrong. Was Joel extreme? Yes. Boy. Yeah, now everyone got a chance to see the dangerous Joel. The Joel that everybody was afraid of, at Boston QZ. The Joel that intimidated everyone. Now you got to see that Joel, because he was focused. He was hyper focused on getting to Ellie, and damn anyone that got in their way or thought that they were going to be able to um, get away and then come back on him. He wasn't leaving no prison. He wasn't. There were no survivors except the nurses in the operating room, and I understood that. And I know about what happens in Last of Us 2, and I do think this was an opportunity missed. That's the only part that I feel was missed, because I saw nothing wrong with them introducing Abby. Just introduction. Nothing serious, but at the very least, I thought this would have been a good point to introduce Abby. At the very least, hear the screams of a daughter who lost her dad in the background. At the very least. But it was a nice little it was a nice little Easter egg that one of the nurses was the one who did the voice for Abby in Last of Us 2. Kudos. I like that. Very nice. But moving forward, when Joel finally gets to Ellie and he kills the doctor and he lets the nurses go, okay, and takes Ellie, gets into the elevator, goes down, and there's Marlene. Now, Marlene is the one who messed up. Marlene should have just took him out. If it was that important to her, she should have taken him out. Headshot, bam, done. We can get to do this all over again. If it was that important to her. But I can understand the hesitation because she made a promise to her best friend to take care of this child. And again, because I know what happens in the second game, that would tie in just right. But still, Joel was not having it. Took her out. Wasn't having it. Didn't want Marlene coming back after her if she survived this. So he took her out. Totally get it. Totally agree with it. You're not grabbing my kid. Period. End of subject. Now we get to the part that I even disagree with the game. Why did he need to lie to Ellie? I didn't think he needed to lie to Ellie. I understand the lie. I understand where the story was going. I get that. But I truly feel that he didn't need to lie to Ellie because, again, foreshadowing what was going on in the second game, he didn't need to lie, but he did. I don't agree with the lie, but it is what it is. What is my take on this adaptation of a video game going to TV? I give this 2 thumbs up. I thought it was an excellent adaptation. I thought there could have been some tweaks in the story, and you heard my suggestions. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What would your tweaks have been? Let me know. I really like to know. But this is my review of the first season of The Last of Us. Anyway, thank you for watching this all the way through. If you did watch it all the way through, please like and subscribe and share. It helps out the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I've been in the 800s for like way too long. Help me get to that 1,000, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.